Alright, it's called Prolonged Misunderstanding. He was a gentle man of 24, one who always carried a book or two, not for an air of vanity, but rather a safe haven for loneliness and fodder for creativity. Endless visions out of eyes which often peered out of library windows, a place which felt more like home than any place he's ever laid his head. Cautious and kind was he, but he could never quite listen to the voices of others as flowing streams of verse swam down the river of his mind. He did not understand why they came, but he took them as a sign from God, a bestowing of laurel leaf placed upon the crown of his head. He felt blessed for certain, but not in an over-exaggerated way such as spoken by countless Christians on Sunday morning prayer lines, but an earnest feeling of blessing, one which he tried so vehemently to express on the blank page. And his woman, lady, angel, butterfly, walks in grace. She possesses a sense of lost beauty which glows around her like a halo, a portrait of broken elegance like a bloody rose in the snow. Her sunken eyes are filled with the lust of salvation, looking for the key to unlock the elegies of her heart. Her broken wings flutter often, while tears, saturated symbols of pain, stain the pavement. And her tears, they fall as graceful as she, watering each petal of loneliness as they crash against her brown skin. But now, determination exceeds fallen whimpers, whimpers which were given life by lonely nights, the radiant moon, the one that glares back at you through the window of life and seems to cry along with you. These nights silently roared through her existence and left her with two knees bent to God. And he listened, and she listened. The fire of the Spirit emblazoned her consciousness and seemed to penetrate her body, and with a silent whisper spoke and said, "My child, I am and will always be the light." So she nodded, agreed, wiped off the pillowcase and looked back at the weeping moon and told him, "Don't weep for me, for I am finally free, and one step closer to revealing my light for the world to see." And as she wiped those tears, the next morning they decided to walk to their favorite bookstore. They walked through the dense city pavement. The smell of morning still lingered in their noses as they entered into the bookstore. And this particular bookstore, with its robust smell of coffee and dry ink, had become a place of solace from the world outside. He sipped his coffee and watched as she poured countless teaspoons of sugar into her tea. "Would you like some tea with your sugar?" he joked. She began to stir the mountain of sugar into her cup, and with each stir the aroma of Earl Grey filled the air. His mind slowly got up and walked away from the table. "What's on your mind?" she said. He uttered softly, "Life, I suppose." "Ryan, you are 24. What do you know of life?" she laughed. He pondered her question while he watched the streaks of morning rain trickle down the window. "Life," he proclaimed. "To me, life is merely a space between smiles in the living room and teardrops on tombstones." She shook her head with a faint smile. He took a sip of his coffee, still too hot to enjoy. "And love?" she said inquiringly. "What do you know of that?" He replied, "Love, well, that's an intriguing word, a word I've heard before but never felt. I do know that it is easy to fall in love, but it is a challenge to stand in it." She reached her hand over to his and smiled, a smile which felt like the word love.